So it is 3 a.m. Last night, I actually played Black Ops 7. That is what you are seeing here. Today, I get to play more Black Ops 7. I get to play zombies, I get to play Warzone, I get to play multiplayer, and later today, you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed, you're going to want to make sure you have notifications on, because I'm going to be bringing you my entire opinion on what Black Ops 7 is actually going to have to offer. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what Black Ops 7 is. We're going to be going through the menus, we're going to be talking about the multiplayer, what it looks like, what it plays like, things along those lines, but again, my opinions will come later today when I can fully talk about the entire package. Now, here's the one thing I'm going to say. If you're on the fence about Black Ops 7, watch this video, watch my opinions later, but I want you to be able to play the game, and in the beta, zombies and multiplayer are in there. Now, the early access beta starts on October 2nd, and you either need to pre-order the game or watch my live stream for 1 hour today. It'll be linked, first link down in the description, and if you just watch for an hour, Twitch drops are on and you can get a free beta code. I want you to get a free beta code. So check out my stream, there's like no strings attached, literally down in the description, and you will, if you watch for an hour, get a beta code today. It might take an hour or two to drop, but once you've watched for an hour, you can get the beta code. It's awesome. There's also some other rewards in there as well. Now, let's dive in and talk about Black Ops 7. So the event happened last night. We got to play multiplayer early, and the menus look fantastic. The game, well, there's a lot to talk about there. So let's start with that. I actually recorded a video while I was there, going through all the menus, showing you all the weapons, going through pretty much everything on how to create a class, what the overclock system looks like, and yeah, this is that.
All right, so to start things out, we're going to dive and go through the menus, starting out with weapons, loadouts, classes, score streaks, everything like that. So the first thing we found out today is that in the beta build that we're playing, there's 13 weapons that are not in this build that'll be in the final build. As far as the weapons that we have the M15 mod, MXR, Peacekeeper. This is the one that I think a lot of you are going to want to see. So we'll set that one up there. SMGs, we have the Graz 45K, Dravik 45, Razor 9mm, shotguns, M10 Breacher, Echo 12. The LMGs, we have the MK78. For marksman rifles, we have the M8A1. That's probably another one you're going to want to see. Sniper rifles, the Versus Recon, the XR3 Ion. Pistols, the Jagger 45 or the Coda 9. And launchers, the Arc M1. As far as secondaries go, we kind of already looked at those. We have Overkill on. Melee weapons, we only have the Flatline. Field upgrades, we don't have all of them in here. We have the Drone Pod, which I definitely want to check out. The Assault Pack, Trophy System, Active Camo, Echo Unit, and Squad Link. Now, we're not going to go through all of the overclocks, but just to see how they work here. We have the Quick Launcher, which is drones launch quicker. And the Radar Link, leave a mini-map icon of each drone's detonation point. So you can kind of see how each of those actually works there. And as we go for example, into the grenades here, Stun Grenade, EMP, Flashbang, Pinpoint Grenade, Stim Shot, and Sight Grenade, you can see how the overclocks work there as well. Lethals, we have Frag, Semtex, Cluster Grenade, Combat Axe, Point Turret, which that I definitely want to figure out. And we'll go with Rapid Fire on that one. Perks, we have new specialties, which I'm going to be in the way of here, but the top three are the same as it was in Black Ops 6. But then we have the combined ones that are Tactician, which is a combination of green and red, Scout, which is blue and red, and Operative, which is green and blue. And you have to use two or one of the other ones. Score streaks, this is where we'll find interesting things. So Scout Pulse is sitting at 350 score. Overclocks, as you can see, you can change how your score streaks actually work. I'm going to leave these as is for now, but a couple interesting ones. The Gravemaker allows you to snipe through walls. The Watchdog Helo is a Watchdog Helo. This is like the wraps from Black Ops 3, if you've ever played that. It's called the HKDS. We have the Rhino, and then the VTOL warship up top. But we're going to leave those as base for when I hop into some gameplay here. Operators, you probably have already seen these. It's a combination of the zombies as well as the multiplayer. And the barracks is pretty much the same as before. Now, in the build we're playing, there's no camos built in or anything like that. However, if we actually go back here, go to loadouts, and then go to, I believe it's the M15, we do have the Beta Legend blueprint. as you are seeing here. The only other thing we haven't covered is wildcards. The 3 that are in this build are Gunfighter, Perk Greed, and Overkill. Now let's hop into some maps and hop into some multiplayer.
So the first mode that we played is Team Deathmatch on a map called Blackheart. Now this is a relatively small, absolutely 3-lane map where the 2 sides of the map are actually divided by a gap in the ground. Now this immediate design looks as though it should be wall run across, but the new move is called a wall jump. And well, let's just say it took me a while to get used to it.
The advantage is ours. Hold it.
Now I know, I do suck, but I did eventually end up getting used to it. Now, as far as this map goes, it is, like I said, a very distinct 3-lane map, which is relatively small. Incredibly easy to get used to, and the spawns are incredibly sticky, super easy to do a spawn trap. Basically, you can just stare down one lane of the map and pick off the other team pretty easy. I think they put this one first on purpose just because it was so easy to get used to. Now, a couple interesting things that I am using in this video. First of all, I have the pinpoint turret as my grenade. Basically, you throw it on the ground and it will shoot an enemy as they go by it. I believe it's countered by cold-blooded. This didn't really work as a turret, like it didn't do a lot of damage, but what it did do, and by the way, I had an overclock that made it deal more damage, shoot faster on it, but what it did do is it kind of denied the lane and told me if someone was coming down a specific lane of the map, because if they were, it would shoot at them. Now, the other thing that I realized just from playing this for an hour is the biggest new thing, and the thing that's going to change up the gameplay the most is twofold, is overclock. The overclock system vastly changes up various different things, items that you use. One, for example, was the ammo supply. They had a bonus on the ammo supply in overclock where if someone picked up your ammo and killed someone with it, or you did, you'd actually get a lot of bonus score for that, and it made it getting score streaks incredibly easy and changed up the way you played. I think the overclock system is probably going to be the biggest and game-defining feature that as time goes on and as the beta goes on, people will get used to, and yeah, there'll be metas formed because of it, and there's definitely going to need to be some balance alongside it, but that is going to be one of the defining features of the game. The other one is the score streaks. Now, the score streaks, the reason why I say those are going to be pretty game-defying is they're good. For once in a very long time, the score streaks feel powerful, and with the added overclocks on them, it'll either make them more attainable or more powerful. This is actually something like the overclock system is something that we had back in Advanced Warfare, believe it or not. Sledgehammer did this on their score streaks, and there was actually many more of them, and I believe they did say that they're going to be adding more overclocks. I don't know whether that's just going to be for individual items or for the existing items as the seasons go on, but I truly believe that they really could add a lot more of these and vary up the game quite greatly. Now, some of the score streaks like the VTOL, incredibly powerful. The HKDs, which stands for the Hunter-Killer Drones, are these little rolly bots that go around and explode chasing after people. They're essentially dogs, or if you played Black Ops 3, the RAP system from that game. They're very good. They feel good. They feel rewarding to earn. Probably one of my favorite new things. Again, we'll talk more about the opinions later on today. The other thing is the maps. So the gameplay that you are watching here is Domination on Forge. This was the second map and the second mode that we played. This map is much bigger than pretty much every other map you probably played in Black Ops 6. That doesn't mean it's a big map. It's just bigger than the ones we have played this year. It felt refreshing to play on it, and it wasn't too big where it didn't feel as though I was getting into any gunfights whatsoever. There's some interesting mechanics, like some walls move in the middle of the map around the B flag. Doors. That's another thing we're going to talk about my opinion on. They removed doors that you have to run through or shoot to open, but they have these automatic doors in a lot of places on a lot of maps. I will leave that one there for now. You can let me know your opinion down in the comments. You'll get mine later today. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications on. Now, as far as weapons and how they actually felt, the weapons felt punchy, they felt good, and they felt defined. Each weapon felt like it had either its role or not a role whatsoever. And what I mean by that is, yes, there's some weapons that are not so great. There's a burst action sniper rifle, really bad as of right now. Probably going to get some buffs throughout the beta weekend. As I mentioned at the beginning there, this is the beta build of the game, so spawns will improve, performance should improve, and a bunch of other things as well. Also, what I realized when using the weapons is attachments are incredibly powerful. One attachment can take a weapon from having a ton of recoil to none whatsoever. And as you're going to find out today, later on in game systems, attachments are going to work very differently in multiplayer and Warzone. So what an attachment does in multiplayer might do something completely different in Warzone, and is kind of like the first step to changing the two games together. They're still connected, don't get me wrong, like they're not separating Warzone altogether. That would be a huge announcement. Now, the other thing that they announced with Warzone is Haven's Hollow. It is going to be a new Resurgence map based off of the Liberty Falls Zombies map. Also, I realize my mic is being a little bit weird. Hopefully it sounds okay for you guys. I don't really know what's going on with it. Sound quality is rough when you're away from the normal setup, but hopefully it's okay and you guys have been enjoying the videos here. Now, moving to the next map, we had Hardpoint on Toshin. Now, I think this is when you will start to see the map philosophy and design of this game. As far as how the map looks, as you can see, all of the maps look very pretty. They went way more bright, way more vibrant, and that is probably going to be where the game feels the most different to Black Ops 6, as well as the map design in and of itself. They went very heavily into the 3-lane design maps and went larger, but not too large. That was one of my worries, is that we got really sick of like these super tiny maps like Stakeout in Black Ops 6. I know some people like them, but people were starting to get sick of those super tiny TikTok brain maps. And I was worried that they were going to go enormous with the maps. And the next map that we're going to look at here, you'll see even more so than this one. They went bigger. They didn't go too big. They didn't go to the point where you're not going to be finding people. They didn't go red card from Black Ops 6, at least any of them that we played, which we didn't get to play all of them. Even in the beta build, I didn't even get to play them all yesterday, which I will be playing more of them today. Again, why I'm holding off my opinions a little bit. But this map in particular, very beautiful. The middle of the map is designed a little bit weird, where there's this like kind of maglev train that has crashed down that blocks a lot of the lines of sight, essentially dividing the map into two, which is kind of interesting. The other thing that I will say is hardpoint games, at least the ones we were playing, were lasting forever. And I don't know if that was because a lot of people were playing the objectives, switching back and forth, or just something they've done with Hardpoint, but they're long games. Like we're talking like 20-minute long games, which I found a little bit weird. I'm curious if that carries forward today. Now, two of the maps that I didn't get to play were Exposure and Imprint. Both of those were actually on the new mode, Overload. Now, this is essentially a non-advanced version of Uplink, and they are specifically going to be going for a competitive mode on this one. And what I mean by that is they want it to be in the CDL. They want this to be like one of the core modes that they play in the CDL. Now, so the final map that I played, the one you're watching here, is called Cortex. Of course, we're playing Hardpoint once again. Now, this was the map that I started to realize it looked like they were going a little bit more into environmental storytelling on maps like they used to, where there's a backstory to these maps. There's something that went on in the background. This one specifically had test chambers in the middle of the map with humans in them, like actual humans floating in them. And you go into the other side of the map and there's a lab with people's data on the wall. Now, I tried to find more information about it. I couldn't find anything in particular. Maybe it'll play more into the campaign and the story and everything like that. But I like that. That is something I think is very important, very underrated for things like this. It's just a little environmental storytelling, a little background. Now, the other thing that we got to learn about yesterday, and you will see this if you watch the live streams today, is the mastery camos. There are 4 mastery camos in every mode, in campaign, in multiplayer, in zombies, and in Warzone, in every single one of them. And if you're the type of Call of Duty player, and again, we'll talk more opinions later today, but if you're the type of Call of Duty player that likes the checklist, likes completing everything, likes being a completionist, this game is going to tickle your fancy. It is very clear what they were going with on that front. There's always things to grind for. And even if you complete all of those camos or all of the prestiging and everything like that, there's going to be weekly challenges, there's going to be reticle challenges, there's going to be daily challenges, there's going to be events that happen throughout the seasons as well. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be busy. They're going for what Modern Warfare 3 did, and I think that is really good. But all in all, and this is what we'll talk more about later today, there wasn't too much that was brand new. Like, there was the new game mode, which unfortunately I didn't get to play, but this is Call of Duty. Like, you're not getting a brand new experience or anything like this, at least in multiplayer. And that's what I will say for now. There's some other things to talk about later today that I can't talk about right now, but this has essentially been multiplayer. As far as if you wanted to ask me some brief questions, what my favorite map was, it was probably this map, Cortex. I think it was the most interesting. It was the largest map that we played. I would say it's a large size map, but does not feel large. I think the beta offering is actually pretty big. The fact that there's 17 weapons in the beta and 30 at launch, that's a pretty big thing. Some things that are not going to be in the beta, the 20v20 skirmish mode is not going to be in the beta, and by the sounds of it, I could be wrong about this, but by the sounds of it, I don't think they're going to be supporting that mode after the game launches, just because they didn't mention it whatsoever, whereas they mentioned that by Season 1, there was going to be 7 maps added to the game already, which is huge, one of which was going to be a fan favorite. They didn't say it specifically, but it's going to be Nuketown. Like, they're adding in Nuketown within the first couple of weeks of the game. They basically confirmed that, and they're going to be confirming that during the live stream today. So if you're a Nuketown kid, yeah, you're going to love that. And if you're like me and maybe have been a little overloaded by Nuketown, well, maybe you can play Overload on Nuketown then, or just not play Nuketown at all. But yeah, that was been Black Ops 7. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. We're going to be diving more into the rest of everything later today. All honest opinions from the bottom of the heart. And trust me, we're going to be honest. So make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on, and I'll see you there.